Scrambling is probably one of the most important things in disc golf, especially if you're playing in the woods. And if you want to make your game better, there's one specific shot that you've got to learn. What's up guys, my name is Michael Holt. This is my disc golf channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by. I'm an advanced level player, 950 rated, 945, somewhere around there. It hasn't updated. So I'm okay, but I've got a lot of work to do as well. And today I'm going to talk about the sidearm Anheuser approach shot for scrambling and approaches as well. It has become one of the biggest tools in my bag. And today I'm going to show you guys some shots, and we're going to talk about how you need to learn this. Honestly, I would say, especially if you live in the South or you play in the woods, this is the most important shot that you need to learn, in my opinion. One of the reasons that I would say this is an extremely important shot for you to learn is because it is a scramble shot that allows you to keep your eye on the basket. A lot of people know what a patent pending is, where you will turn, reach out, and throw, which is definitely a shot that you need to learn, and we'll kind of talk about that in here as well. But the reason that this sidearm shot is so incredibly important is because it allows you to keep your body continuously faced at the basket, which allows you to focus on your target the whole time and not have to look away from it or anything like that. In today's video, we're gonna go over 4 different things that I think are needed and necessary to perform these scramble shots. First of those is gonna be shot choice, obviously. So that's whether to go with the sidearm shot that I'm saying is incredibly important, or whether to go with that patent pending backhand shot. Now, obviously, certain scenarios will make you throw certain things. So there may be times where you can't do a sidearm shot, and there also may be times where you can't do that backhand shot. You see people like James Conrad, who throws a 99.9% backhand. Congrats on the World's win, by the way. But you also will see him throw that sidearm shot. So it is necessary to have in your bag, especially if you find yourselves in the woods trying to scramble a lot. So shot choice is going to be the first thing that you need to think about when approaching a scramble shot, is whether you're going backhand or sidearm. Next is going to be disc selection. These are the 3 discs that I scramble with pretty much only, unless I'm throwing a putter. I have 2 different Justices in here, which are overstable. This newer one being way more overstable than this Justice is, which is why I have both of them in here. And then I have an EMAC Truth, which holds a really, really good Anheuser line, but will end up coming out to the right as it runs out of speed. And then I also have the Bounty, which I've been absolutely loving. This will hold that Anheuser line so much better. So you need to know which discs in your bag are great for scrambling. And I would say to grab a couple different ones. Like again, this Bounty is a -1.5, I believe. It's like a -1.52. I don't know the exact numbers on it. The EMAC is 0.2, and then I think the Justice is 0.3 or 0.3.5. Oh, it says it right here. Never mind. It's 0.54. So super stupid overstable. So I have all of those slots in my bag handled, and then obviously choosing the right disc for the situation is going to be based off of the next 2 points that I have for you. Okay, so the next thing that I would say is really important is going to be angle control. Knowing the angle at which you throw your disc and need to release it is paramount. Angle control and manipulating your disc and its flight is what disc golf is all about. The best players know their angles, know how those angles are going to, or know what those angles are going to make the disc do, and all sorts of things like this. So angle control is extremely important. Now, as I mentioned earlier with the disc choice, a lot of times a certain disc will go with a certain angle in your bag. This Bounty for me generally goes on this angle right here, knowing that it will push out and hold that and land flat for me. I won't throw too many other discs on that angle unless it's like the justice, but I want it to do a flex line for me. But for that one slot in my bag, I know, okay, I'm standing right here in this specific situation. I see my opening. I need to release a disc at this angle, and then you go, okay, I know what disc flies best at that angle. So the angle control is so incredibly important, and honestly is going to be paramount for you executing the shots that you need. You also have to understand that the angle that the disc is released at is going to also tie very closely with the next point. And that next point is speed control. Speed control is so, like, all of these are so important. Obviously, choosing the correct shot to scramble, whether that's backhand or sidearm, choosing the correct disc, choosing the angle, and then also the speed. You have to understand that discs are designed to be thrown at a certain speed. But as you grow in your abilities of disc golf and your knowledge of how things fly, you'll understand that you can manipulate the disc and throw it at speeds that it isn't technically designed at to do things that you may never have thought that it could do. An example of that is me throwing my very lightweight understable diamond. That disc is designed for people with lower arm speeds to throw and be able to throw it straight. It's not designed to be ripped on, but I love throwing it just like that. I love manipulating the disc, throwing it at speeds that it's not necessarily designed to be thrown at, on angles that you wouldn't think it'd be thrown at, to create a certain shot. And so when it comes to scrambling, that's another very important point, is the speed control. So if you throw an understable disc on an anhyzer at the speed that the disc is designed to be thrown at, generally it will hold that the entire time. Now, if I throw an understable disc slowly, it will come out and almost act overstable depending on how much I take off of it. And so the speed that you throw a disc at is going to be so incredibly important. Like if I take my bounty that I've been throwing a lot lately and throw it on an anhyzer really hard, it's going to turn left and probably turn into a roller. Now, if I tone it down a little bit and throw it maybe at a putter's speed, it'll hold that anhyzer for just a little bit, and then it'll either land flat or it'll end up going to the right. And so you guys will see that in a lot of the shots that I've thrown throughout this video. You'll see how the bounty flies and how the EMAC Truth flies. And those are two different scenarios depending on how far away from the basket I am. Personally, I don't like sidearming putters. I'm not too confident with it, and so I just throw a mid-range at a putter's speed and know what it's going to do. That's what I was talking about with manipulating a disc that is not designed to be thrown at a certain speed to do what you want it to do. And so throwing this at a putter's speed can make it do like really cool things and just help me with my approaches. And so knowing that speed control, knowing whether to throw hard or soft, and also knowing the angle that you're going to throw it on. If I throw an overstable disc on an angle like this, it's going to come out of it pretty quickly. If I throw an understable disc on an angle like this, it'll hold it. Unless I'm throwing super soft, then it won't really hold it and it'll end up coming to the right. And a lot of this stuff is just practice and all that kind of jazz as you get out onto the course. Just knowing your discs, knowing the angles that they perform the best at, knowing the angles that you're comfortable throwing at, because a lot of people aren't comfortable throwing on like an anhyzer angle with a sidearm or anything like that. Now, this video is not here to show you how to technically throw what is to me one of the most important shots in the game. It's to help you go through the thought process as you're throwing it. You still will have your normal grip like this, just your 2-finger grip. Paul Ulibarri has a video on this as well where he talks about releasing and your finger, so you guys can go watch that and he'll help you with that. And then this video is more just about the thought process and the decision making that goes into your execution of the shot that you need. I really hope that this helped you guys. Check out my other videos. I talk about a lot of these shots as I'm playing, executing them, going through the mental thought process that might be different from something that I've said, or not different from something that I've said here, but just kind of help you gain more insight into an on the field throwing of certain shots. I love this shot. I love throwing anhyzer sidearms. The two that I go to the most, honestly, have been the Bounty and the EMAC Truth for those approach shots from 100 to 150 or so, just to get me up to the basket and land softly. That's another reason why I love throwing the sidearm approach shot, is because especially if you throw an understable disc, it lands so softly as it gets up to the basket, when a lot of times backhands won't necessarily do that. I really hope that this helped you guys out. You were able to learn a little bit. If you have any other tips as well, for those of you who have this shot, who throw this shot, comment those down below. Thank you for your support. I love you guys. I'll see you on the next one, all right?